Now, when I was younger, my mum always used to say to me, you can't just sit inside all day and play with yourself. However, thanks to the power of the AYN Thor, now I can. Okay, so I'm going to show you how you can play with yourself using two instances of RetroArch. So what I'm going to do is show you how you can trade Pokemon from yourself to yourself. So in this instance, I'll be using Fire Red and Leaf Green. This, as far as I'm aware, isn't compatible with every game. It's all dependent on the core. So when I did my initial RetroArch setup, I showed you to install MGBA. This didn't work with the MGBA RetroArch core. It worked only with the GPSP one. So I'll show you how to set that up now. So assuming you've already got at least one instance of RetroArch installed, most likely you'll have the AArch64 one if you followed my guide or another guide for Obtainium. This AArch64 version is the one that you get with Obtainium. This RetroArch is the 32-bit version, which I'll leave a link to in the description. So on the top screen, we'll open up the 64-bit version, which is my normal setup version. So unfortunately, once you download the 32-bit version, you will have to go through and set it all up again if you like. So first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to come down to Online Updater. We're going to download and make sure we've got the correct cores. Scroll all the way down till we get, there we go. So I've already got them installed, which is why they've got a hash next to them, but this is the one you want, the GPSP one. Like I said, the MGBA one will not work. I tried it, it just wasn't playing ball. I haven't tried any of the others, VBA Next, VBA M, but I can assure you GPSP is the one that worked for me. So once that's done, the easiest way to access games from within RetroArch is to set up a playlist. So if I go across to the right, you'll see I've got this little Game Boy Advance logo and then all my Game Boy Advance games in there. So the way to do that, you go to Playlists, go to Import Content and scan a directory. You can find your internal storage, which is under Storage Emulate/0, or you can go to your SD card, which will have your SD card's ID there. So I'm just going to go to my storage, scroll down to ROMs folder, keep scrolling down, and then I'm going to grab my GBA folder and then just use scan this directory. It takes 30 seconds or so, depending on how many games you've got. And then once that's done, you'll have this little Game Boy Advance logo in the corner. So now I'm going to go down to Fire Red. So when we click into it, we can run the content, we can manage it. So one thing you need to do, if you were using MGBA before RetroArch, you'll need to make sure that you set the core association to GPSP. There we go. So what I advise doing is only using this setup if you wish to trade. Otherwise, if you're using a front end like Cocoon or ESU or ESDE, just stick with whichever core you're currently using. Only use this when you want to do some trades. So once that's done, I'm going to boot into the game on that screen. And whilst that's loading up, I'm going to come down and I'm going to load up my other instance of RetroArch. So, like I said, unfortunately, you will have to set up the you'll have to set up RetroArch again. Just follow my guide or another's guide. It's relatively straightforward. Like I said, you probably don't need to do the full setup because this isn't communicating with the front ends. This is just a standalone version for the sole purpose of trading Pokemon. So I've already got the core installed, but I'll just show you again. Online Updater. I don't know how well you'll be able to see it because it's very, very small on the screen. Core Downloader. Scroll till you find the Game Boy Advance ones. GPSP. Do your playlist, point it at your Game Boy Advance games, and there we are. It's the same setup that I've got on the 64-bit version. It's just on the 32-bit version. So we'll scroll down to Leaf Green. So as always, check your core association, GPSP. One thing I did have to do, because it crashed on me before, is if any changes you make, and I've said this in every tutorial I've covered RetroArch, save your current configuration. If you don't, it won't save your changes or it'll cause you issues. We'll boot up Leaf Green. So whilst Leaf Green's booting up, I'm going to tap my top screen. Just a note as well that one of the things that I normally do is if you press your AYN button and go to settings, there's this little button here, this auto lock, which is in the top left here, auto lock button. But what this is it locks the controllers to a specific screen. So I normally have the controls locked to the top screen because I'm reading a guide on the bottom or I'm watching telly. However, for this instance, I want to be able to control both screens. So for the auto lock, I've just set it, for the focus mode, I've just set it on the auto lock rather than top screen or bottom screen. So what that'll do is whichever screen I tap is the one I'm in control of. So back out of that. When fire red, we'll boot it up. And then whilst that's going through all the cutscenes, I'll boot into the game on leaf green as well. Just alternating between screens and just skipping through the previously on. This is right at the beginning of the game. It's the first Pokemon Center I've come across. So I've saved it here. So we're currently in the upstairs of the Pokemon Center, ready to trade. So what I'm going to do is, firstly, I'm going to talk to the lady on the right. She's going to talk me through the Wireless Connection Club. We want to trade. Yep, it'll ask you to save. It'll do the save. Go through all the necessary dialogue for that. And then it's going to ask you which one will become the leader and which one will be who will have to join the group. So for this case, Fire Red is the one I play mostly, so I'll become the leader on Fire Red. So that's awaiting communication from another player. So I'm going to tap the bottom screen. I'm going to do the same again. So whilst she's chatting, on the top screen, I'm going to use my menu shortcut, which I have set to select and X. So this will bring up menu. And then I'm going to go all the way over to the across, and I'm going to go to netplay. I'm going to go into netplay, I'm going to click host, and then start netplay host. So you'll see in the bottom left, it'll say waiting for client, and then I've joined as player 1. And then on the bottom, we'll go to the trade. This would like to trade Pokemon. It's all the same steps. It's relatively straightforward. So for this one, Alex2 is going to join a group. So you'll see here, currently, there's no one available because even though I'm hosting netplay on the top, I'm not joining it on the bottom yet. So I'll do the exact same thing, open up my menu, and then go back to netplay. And instead of host, you want to come down to the bottom option. Again, I don't know how clear this will be on the video. There's an option called refresh netplay LAN list. So this will detect any active hosting sessions on your local network. So I'm doing this on a single device. This will also work if you've got someone else in the household with another device, whether that's a phone or an Odin, a Retroid, whichever device currently has RetroArch loaded, this should work for. So I'll refresh the list. And then we've got this local anonymous collection that's just popped up below it. So I'll click that. And then already you can see on the bottom screen, my name's popped up. I really should have given them different names, but like I said, I'm playing with myself. So now I'm going to select that. And then on the top, Alex has contacted you for trades. I'm going to accept it. So the exact same as you would if you were that rich kid at school with the link cable, or you managed to get the wireless linking enabled. I don't think we ever actually tried it when I was at school, but we had one kid with a link cable, and he was everyone's best friend every time a Pokemon game come out. So again, I'm just controlling both. I'm just tapping. I've got to sit down in the right chair, and then I want a trade, a Pidgey. I'll trade a Pidgey for a Squirtle, which is I've ripped myself off, but I've also done brilliantly. The real art of the deal. So yeah, we'll get this lovely animation. Play through. Obviously, this is ideal for if there's certain Pokemon you want to evolve, which only evolve as part of a trade. I can't remember off the top of my head which ones they are. I've recently been getting back into Pokemon thanks to the AYN Thor, because I've not properly sat down and played a Pokemon game since about 2002. And there we are. So if I will back out of both of these. Okay, so now if I go to my top screen and go to my Pokemon, I've got a Charmander and a Squirtle. And if I go to my bottom screen and do the same thing, it's Pidgey City down on Leaf Green. So there you are. That was just a simple guide on how to play with yourself on RetroArch. As always, if you like this video, please be sure to give a like and subscribe, tell your friends, and I'll see you in the next one.